Not on anything, or I don't have any talents.
Would you date someone that looks like me? Am I your type?
I'd do it.
Thank you.
From D-list to A-list. That's my goal in 10 years.
From D-list to A-list.
Yes.
Bobbi Althoff was really running it up online, stacking millions of followers and pulling in insane views on every post. Each clip was clearing millions of plays, and that attention translated into serious money, with estimates putting her yearly earnings in the hundreds of thousands. From the outside, it looked like a textbook creator success story: fast growth, viral momentum, and perfect timing. According to Bobbi, she took that social media heat and flipped it directly into podcast power, treating her online fame like a launchpad instead of a side hustle. But right out the gate, people started raising eyebrows. From episode 1, viewers were whispering that something felt off. The biggest reason was how instantly she seemed plugged into elite circles. She was suddenly associated with Drake, known online as the 69 God. And not long after that, she was joking around publicly about Mark Cuban in a way that many people found uncomfortable and unnecessary. Folks online were like, how does a brand new podcaster land access like this overnight? The jokes turned into side eyes, and the side eyes turned into full-blown skepticism. What really sent the rumors into overdrive was the business side. Within a single week of launching her podcast, Bobbi had secured representation from one of the most powerful talent agencies in entertainment. That same agency was lining up high-profile guests back to back, and her show never had a quiet build-up phase.
Just like hard to imagine finding someone who is truly good for you. It's hard to imagine there's a world where there's like someone who's actually meant for you. Dating is just hard, you guys. Like,
yes, I did name my daughter Richard. I just always really loved the name Richard, and I wanted a boy, but I had a girl, and I decided to name her Richard anyway.
I was making around like 250 to 300 a year.
1,000.
Yeah.
From brand deals
on TikTok.
Wow.
And 250 is great and all, but it's hard to come up with content with just me every day.
$250,000 a year as an annual income is great and all.
Yes.
It is great.
It is
It's
great.
To many watchers, that kind of rollout did not feel organic. It felt manufactured, planned, and backed by heavy industry muscle. People did not just say this online either, they were bold enough to bring it straight to her face in interviews and comment sections. On top of that, her on-camera persona started wearing thin for a lot of viewers. The dry sarcasm, the cold delivery, the too cool to care vibe, it worked at first. But over time, people felt like it was the only move she had. When she sat across from someone sharp like Offset, who clocked her energy immediately, the act fell apart, and she came off unprepared and outmatched. The internet noticed, clipped it up, and did what it always does. Beyond the industry plant chatter, the harshest public criticism followed her personal life. A loud group of critics accused her of breaking up her family in pursuit of clout and elite social circles. Whether fair or not, that narrative stuck, and once it did, every move she made was viewed through that lens.
Mentally decided that she made like at least 300 a year on her podcast alone, and I was like, that's what I need to do next. Like, I need a podcast.
I know. You're not an industry plant, right?
I am, but
you do feel kind of planty. We do have the same manager, so is this
I know,
of
isn't that crazy?
Feels a bit planty.
This is definitely
you got here in 5 minutes. It took me 20 years.
Hey, it has been a minute.
What I think industry plant is, it's like somebody that has been like, that is tied to someone else in the industry and uses those connections to capitalize, and they like have zero talent.
Now, when Drake of all people is publicly hinting that you are moving reckless as a parent, that alone made people stop and stare. And what made it even messier was how Drake himself was acting online. At one point, he was deep in Bobbi's Instagram comments, trying to get her to unblock his name, which a lot of people saw as awkward and desperate. The whole thing flipped the power dynamic and turned into a spectacle instead of a flex. At the same time, viewers started noticing a pattern in her interviews. Even though she was still married during many of those early podcast episodes, she kept steering conversations into flirt-heavy territory. She regularly asked guest questions that crossed into uncomfortable space, making people side-eye the situation. A lot of fans said it was hard not to think about her husband watching these clips back later. Not long after the Drake episode went live, her husband officially filed for divorce, which only poured more gas on the rumors already floating around online.
I flew all the way here.
You did. I really do appreciate
on my daughter's
that.
First birthday.
I wasn't going to bring that up.
You
missed your daughter's first birthday for
to be here.
Dark. Regret that you'll never be able to undo.
Yeah.
Horrible parenting.
Based on what the comments are saying, and sometimes it's just constructive criticism. It can be a little mean, but yeah, it doesn't bother me too much.
Hi guys, welcome to the Really Good Podcast with your host Bobbi Althoff.
I believe in my podcast, so I'm trying my best. I've had a few guests, some D-list celebrities.
From there, the narrative spiraled fast. Gossip pages and comment sections started suggesting that Drake was her entry point into elite celebrity circles. None of that was ever confirmed, but the internet ran with it anyway. Soon after, she picked up a reputation for bouncing around high-profile environments. Ryan Garcia was openly flirting with her during appearances, acting like a kid with a crush. Later on, during an emotional rant on social media, he claimed they had been involved, which again added fuel without adding clarity. There were also clips circulating of Bobbi being escorted out of clubs while clearly intoxicated, moments that did not help her image at all. One of the most embarrassing situations came when she attempted a soft launch of a mystery man online. Internet sleuths quickly dug through social media and identified the guy as an NFL player. The problem was, he immediately denied any relationship, leaving her looking exposed and humiliated. That whole situation triggered an emotional spiral that played out publicly on TikTok. Now fast forward to the present.
Be on my podcast.
Why you keep saying that cap ass shit, man? I honestly didn't even want to do this shit. I don't fucking do interviews. I'm fucking with you because they're making me. You need a little bit of seasoning. You ain't got no seasoning, man. You like a plain piece of chicken just on the thing. You pull it off and then you serve the dish. You need some motherfucking seasoning, man.
You can leave now.
This is my hotel. I paid for this motherfucker. You can leave now.
Bobbi has officially announced that her podcast is coming to an end. That surprised some people, since she was still pulling in respectable numbers here and there, with certain episodes hitting the hundreds of thousands in views. But when you compare that to her peak era, when every episode was clearing 1 million views and stacked with major guests, the fall-off was obvious. The guest list shrank, solo episodes struggled, and the buzz was gone. The final send-off felt less like a celebration and more like a quiet funeral for a moment that burned too bright, too fast. Yeah, it is still wild how anyone could be confused about why this podcast fell out of favor. Even with everything that was happening publicly, right up until last year, there were still signs that someone behind the scenes was pouring money into Bobbi's career. You could tell there was a steady push to keep her relevant, to clean up the narrative, and to position her as misunderstood rather than manufactured. That kind of support does not happen by accident. It takes strategy, funding, and people who believe there is still a return on investment.
The Really Good Podcast. She was a great podcast. She got me this house, got me the car I drive. She got me a lot of stuff, and she was really great. I really did appreciate her for the time I had with her. And she brought me a lot of memories and a lot of great guests. I will miss doing this podcast, and I will miss the money this podcast brought me. Hi guys, welcome to the Really Good Podcast. All jokes aside, all honesty, this is the last episode. In honor of the last episode, my sister and I are going to sing a song. I heard there was a secret chord that David played and it pleased the Lord, but you don't really care for music, do ya?
You saw it in the press coverage. Business Insider and similar outlets suddenly ran soft interviews and flattering think pieces that felt oddly timed. These were not deep investigations or tough questions, just surface-level framing designed to shift perception. Anyone familiar with media knows that these types of appearances are often part of a paid or mutually beneficial arrangement. The goal was simple: make her look credible again and keep the brand alive long enough to squeeze more value out of it. Over time, though, it became clear that from the very beginning, this entire journey was about money and fame for Bobbi. She has openly admitted that even as a kid, her biggest goal was to be rich and well-known. There is nothing illegal about that, but it does explain a lot about how she moved. Fame was not a byproduct for her, it was the objective. That mindset shaped every decision, every interview, and every partnership. In a bigger sense, she kind of represents where social media has taken society as a whole. Platforms like Instagram have warped how people see themselves and how they think they should act. Over the last couple of years especially, there has been a noticeable shift in how people present online. There is this growing belief that attention equals importance. You see regular everyday users with a few hundred followers carrying themselves like they are untouchable public figures. It is not confidence, it is performance. People are not necessarily more arrogant than before. before. They are more desperate for validation. Likes, views, and comments have replaced real feedback. Behavior that would have been considered embarrassing or try hard in the early social media days is now normalized and even rewarded. Bobbi just happened to be a high-profile example of that trend playing out in real time. To her credit, she eventually acknowledged the decline. She openly said she loves money, and that honesty was probably the most real moment she had left. Her final podcast episode was loaded with ads, nearly back-to-back, and the whole thing felt more like a cash-out than a reflection.
Started off just with a girl with a dream to make more money, and I knew when I started that it was going to go places. I didn't know I would fall off as quickly as I did. To be honest, I did think this was going to last a bit longer. But nevertheless, it lasted a minute, and I'm proud of the accomplishments I have, and I'm pretty sad that it has to end like this, but it's okay. Just any final words for the podcast?
She really fell off.
No, it happened. People said I was falling off, and they were right. So now it's dead. You guys got what you wished for. You wanted it to be over, it's over. It's gone. It's not there anymore.
She spent most of the time reminding viewers of past moments, past guests, past relevance. It played out like a recap episode, the kind most people skip because it adds nothing new. Just recycled highlights, looping the same interviews, closing the book without really saying anything at all. She plays a clip, then jumps to the next one, and every few minutes there is another ad dropped right in your lap. It barely feels like a goodbye episode, and more like a checklist being crossed off. I honestly get the feeling this was less of a finale and more of a setup. It comes across like a soft runway for whatever she wants to roll out next, not a real farewell. That alone makes the ending feel hollow. I also have a hard time believing someone who clearly enjoys being around famous people and climbing social ladders would just walk away clean. That kind of lifestyle becomes addictive once you taste it. The timing makes it even more suspicious. The episode dropped on the very last day of July, packed with sponsors from top to bottom. Anyone who understands brand deals knows those contracts usually come with strict posting windows. Miss those deadlines and you owe money back. This felt less like closure and more like fulfilling obligations. Realistically, I cannot see many people sitting through the entire episode. Even fans who once rode hard for the show. It dragged, it recycled old moments, and the constant ads ended whatever momentum was left. And if you scroll through the comment section, it does not look like love at all. It was split right down the middle. Some people were saying good riddance because they were exhausted by the ads, while others went straight for her personal life, accusing her of choosing fame over family. That is not the energy you expect from a celebratory send-off. So yeah, this really does look like the end of the Bobbi era, at least in this format. Honestly, she probably would have had more longevity and steadier money sticking to parody content instead of trying to force herself into the podcast elite lane. This whole situation feels like a lesson in how moving too fast can burn you out quicker than moving smart. Now, I want to hear what you think. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think this was really her choice? Or do you think there were people in the background quietly pulling the plug when the numbers stopped making sense? If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the Beyond Fame channel, share it with someone who follows internet culture, and I will see you in the next one.